what is this? It's a picture of a frog in a pot of water. Hopefully, whoever took this picture isn't going to turn on the heat, but have you ever heard this analogy here where if you boil a frog in a pot of water, if you boil a pot of water and it's already boiling, you drop a frog into it, the frog is immediately going to jump out. But someone puts a frog into a normal pot of water, the frog will be just fine, turn the heat up slowly, and then the frog will get killed. Now, why am I sharing with you this like kind of sad story that hopefully no one does? Because most of you are slowly being boiled. You're just barely unsatisfied, just barely unhappy, just barely not going where you need to go, headed in the wrong direction, but it's happening at such a slow pace that you don't even realize it. And it's kind of like all these people who say, there's no point in me really doing anything for December because no one's online, no one's buying. I might as well just wait till 2013. And then what happens in 2013? Oh, well, January's kind of off to a slow start. I might as well just, wait until the spring to get started. And then next thing you know, you've lost 6 months of your life and you still haven't really headed anywhere. So if you keep this kind of frog boiled in the water mentality in mind, I think it'll really tie together a lot of things we're going to talk about today. Because I don't want you to be unhappy, but there's such a thing as kind of being oblivious to your situation. And then I think that it's okay to be a little dissatisfied with the way things are, a little bit agitated so that you have the motivation to move in the right direction, but then also enjoy when things go right for you. And when things go right for you, usually it's not due to someone else. Usually it's because of you, because if you've heard of these things called luck or coincidence or fate, well, some guy has actually disproven this thing called luck, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But there's no such thing as a lucky person. It's either did you get yourself online, did you get that website set up, did you make connections, get joint ventures, get traffic, make sales, and then move in the right direction. And sometimes you'll catch a little bit of a break, but you'll have more things go badly than things go right. And the key is just to get past all the bad things so that you can enjoy that when things do go right, when you do put out that product, when your product launch goes well. And if it didn't go great this week, then figure out what went wrong and then do better next week. And then the other thing is coincidences also don't exist. I know that sometimes some people think that, well, they were in the right place, right time. But what happens here is that you only forget the non-coincidences. People who actually do well, we'll talk about this as well. People who do well actually see all the connections that happen. And once again, sure, there might be some kind of higher power in your life. I'm not gonna get into that or judge you, but it's up to you to set up your website. You can't pray and wake up and a website shows up again. You kind of have to actually do some things on your own. And for me, it's just, sure, I want to be aware of some things that might go wrong. My website might crash, my internet might not work, someone might not buy this product, but I'm going to plan for the worst, be prepared for that, and hope for the best, and just do what I can to move in the right direction, because you can't rely on anyone else to swoop in and improve your current situation. So these two things that I kind of laid out for you so far, there's the frog thing and the luck thing, are going to be important moving forward. Anyway, if you don't know me or you do know me, it's good to talk to you right now live today. I used to be a computer programmer, but what happened was I wasn't making enough money and I wasn't really rewarded enough for what it is that I was doing. I got this job in college, finished college, got this job just out of college, and I was a young adult and working in a day job and also building a business on the side, as many of you here are doing. But what ended up happening was I didn't stay in the same spot. I wanted to keep moving forward. I wanted to keep building and growing. I wanted to keep making more money month after month. And then at some point, there was, I guess, the breaking point. Something had to change, and I had to go full time. But didn't have it happen magically. What I did was I went out there. I got paid for my skill. I figured out what people wanted. I created these things called information products. These things called software products. I marketed them. Some of them sold well. Some of them didn't. But either way, I figured out what products people wanted and what products people didn't want. I figured out what got people to buy and what made people click away. And then I just kept on releasing these things. I kept building a list and I kept on marketing myself and making it go bigger and bigger. And so then what I kept doing this over and over, and I realized that every time that I put out a web page, the web pages kind of looked the same. And those times that I got crazy and tried to reinvent the wheel and get different graphics made or do things differently, then I ended up putting in a lot of time and effort for either not much of a difference or for less money, for less success. So what I ended up doing was just doing all these things, setting up a blog, getting traffic. I ended up, making a WordPress plugin for this, a PHP program for that, systematizing it, and then teaching the system that I'm doing anyway. I'd go out and get articles transcribed and spend a few months getting that just right so that the transcripts, so I could speak things out, get articles back, get reports back, and get them back fast, get them back cheap, get them coming back with high quality. And then I said, well, I put in all this effort to kind of do all the trial and error and figure it out, so I might as well double dip and then show others how to do it as well. And you are all in the same place. If you can show me how to get on page 1 of Google rankings, if you can show me how to get 1,000 clicks from $10 putting it into Facebook, if you can show me how to flip a house, if that was something I was interested in, those are all systems that if you already do them, then you already kind of put in the trial and error for others, so you're providing value, you're saving other people the headache of figuring out how to blaze that trail, and now you just turn around and show people exactly the way that you do it. That way you don't have to think of anything, you just show exactly what it is that you did. So what you need to do is get something for sale right now, and for most of you on this call, it's a product. It's just what we talked about. It's a step-by-step system showing people how to do what it is you do. You find people who are at point A where they pretty much don't have anything. Right? So let's say that your niche was you want to show someone how to get a bestseller book published on Amazon.com, get a physical book, get a digital book, get it proofread, get it formatted correctly, get it listed properly, get a bunch of sales, monetize that book on the back end properly, all that good stuff, where someone who is at point A, who has no book, who has no brand, who has nothing, is completely lost, and you want to get them over to point B where they have pretty much their whole brands figured out. They have maybe even a basic website. Maybe they have, or maybe you have like some kind of like a tear sheet in the book, a coupon. Maybe you even have it listed in book search. Whatever it is you can show them, but you want to get them from point A to point B, and there are a few steps along the way, and that's what your product is. Your product is that thing that solves their problem. And for some reason, most people think about this as a PDF book, a report, and fine. If that's what it is that will get them from point A to point B, then put together that 10-page, 20-page report, and then put it on a website, put it behind a payment button, make a sales letter for it, get people to see it, and there you go. So you need to present things in a way that's exciting, that makes people want it right away, right now. And the best way to do this is to show people your results. And you say, well, I had this idea for a book 2 weeks ago, and I outlined it this way, I wrote it this way, I published it this way, I used this template for the cover, this template for the listing, and then boom, now that's my system. But the first step in this is getting it set up, and then you need to get people to see it and make sales. So I know that might seem like kind of a scary thing, like, oh shoot, I gotta put my name out there, I have to actually explain my system to people. What if it sucks? What if 100 people try it and it works for everyone except for 2 people because they didn't do it right, and now everyone hates me because it didn't work for 2 people? And you just have to get past that, because have you ever heard this saying, if you change nothing, then nothing changes? If you keep doing the same thing that you're doing, then you're going to keep getting the same results. And for many of you, there's really nothing there's nothing to lose. The worst thing you have to lose is that you stay in the same spot that you are, and then that just means that, okay, then there's still more new things to try. So we're going to talk about a few things today. And the first thing is this thing called mindset. Because if you don't have your attitude figured out right, then you could have you can get all the money in the world, have all the best product launches in the world, and it's not really going to mean anything. You're not going to enjoy it, and then if you're not careful, then you're going to regress back to your previous self. I see this so many times when people have an idea for a product, they put this product out, they make $30,000, and then the next month they feel so guilty or so nervous or just so uneasy about this $30,000 that if they had kept moving forward month after month, they could have had other $30,000 months, $40,000, $50,000 months, but because they just weren't prepared for this influx of money, then they just quit. And what started off as a $30,000 month turns into a $30,000 year because they don't do anything for the rest of that year. They kind of, in a way, won the lottery on the internet and they weren't prepared for it. So what you need to do is have a skill. Okay, so what happens so many times when people when I see a few people kind of get lucky, especially as far as joint ventures are concerned, is they come out with some idea for some kind of like a make money product usually, and then they for lack of a better term they luck in to some friends who has a huge list, right? A huge amount of traffic. That person sends out an email, or maybe gets some 10 of their friends to send an email. A bunch of money comes in. They have a big product launch, and then the original person didn't really know what they did right, what they did wrong. All they know is that they put out some offer, and maybe it was even a crappy product, but because they ended up having all these people mail, and they got, say, like 10,000 clicks over to their web page. Well, let's say that you have a web page where there's where you get 10,000 clicks, right? And let's say that it converts at about 2%. So out of everyone who comes to the site, 2% of them buy. So what does that mean for us? That means that you just now made 200 sales, and if you had a $100 or $97 product, then what does that mean? That means you just made 20 grand from those 10,000 clicks. So pretty cool when those numbers work out, but wouldn't it be great to be able to repeat that and to know that, well, did I make all this money because I just had like a waterfall of traffic coming in? Or was I really solving a need? Is it something I can repeat? Can I go to other people? Can I even build my own list so that I don't have to rely on this one person over and over again? So you have this one skill, and it should be a skill that you've done enough. And I mean, even a handful of times is enough so that you have the confidence to show people that it worked. Okay, so I mean, with me, Lance and I have a product that's a backup plugin, backup creator. And if you own this one, can you go in the question box and type in BC so that I know that you're a backup creator user. So Lance and I have this this product called Backup Creator, and so we've run it enough times that we're confident it works. We've used it enough times that we're fine showing it on a webinar, showing different ways to use it. So you need to have some kind of a skill that you've done enough, that you've systematized, where now you're confident that it works. Then what happens is we create that report, put it up for sale, even make a handful of sales. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just because of the fact that you made those sales, now you're fine with it. And then you just keep doing what you've been doing. If you have a way to get 100 clicks, get a handful of sales, then figure out how to get 100 more clicks here, 1,000 more clicks here, write some more articles, make some more blog posts, contact some more affiliates, and then just get more of this kind of traffic over to your site. Okay, and then you're slowly making progress, and then it might get to the point where those people who buy from you, those people who get on your list, you realize that there's a need for some other product in addition to that. And then what you end up doing is you end up getting a lot more organized, and you end up having a system that works. And I mean, every single time that Lance and I create a PowerPoint presentation, set up a website, send an email, set up a sales letter, make a product, we don't start from scratch. At the very least, we start from some kind of a template. I make a web page, I start from a template that I already have. I make a membership site, I start with the plugins and the theme that I already have. So you're going to end up having the system that you use day in and day out. But then you get at the point where you need to finish everything you start, and you need to actually enjoy what it is you're doing. And for I don't know, for the average person, I would say that what they enjoy is wasting time. For the average employee, they're having fun basically getting paid to goof off, right? Go on Facebook, go check your email, that's all fun if you're getting paid on an hourly basis, but you're a business owner, so you need to readjust your priorities and you need to enjoy better and different things. And for me, I mean, what could be better than enjoying you making sales? If you actually had fun making sales, if you enjoyed seeing $500, even $1,000 or more pour in, and you actually enjoyed that, then wouldn't you do everything in your power to keep earning that money? And then that way you aren't in survival or panic mode, and now you can have fun doing whatever it is you want to do. If you want to quit your job, take time off, spend time with your family, whatever it is, now you actually have your priorities in check. You're not enjoying wasting time, you're enjoying making money. So let's get you back on track right now and figure out and get your inner game figured out. We talked already a little bit about this employee mindset, but instead you want to be a business owner. So instead of running out the clock, spending all 8 hours, you want to figure out, well, what can I do today, right now, to make more money than what I'm doing? And deep down, I think you know what it is that you want to do or that you need to be doing right now. And posting on Twitter or researching usually isn't it. Usually it's creating content or getting more traffic or improving your conversions, something simple like that. And then you need to figure out how much of an internet marketer are you and how much of a coach are you? Because if you're too much of an internet marketer, then all you're doing is you're just promoting a bunch of crap, right? You're sending out an email for this affiliate program, this affiliate program, this affiliate program, this affiliate program. And then if you're more, whoops, I meant to say coach, not a coacher. But if you're a coach or author speaker, if you're too much on this end, then what are you doing? Well, you're selling a bunch of hot air. You're worried too much about branding, or I got to have this really good looking blog with my picture in giant words. It really says nothing, and it's fine to be in the middle here, but just not one or the other. All right, you still have to market yourself. It's fine to have a blog, it's fine to have an about me page, all that stuff, but if you're a author, speaker, coach, do you have a product for sale? Can I go to your website and buy something right now today? Can I pay you money? Can I get on your list? And when I get on your list, are you sending me emails? But the danger, I think what everyone kind of gets a little too exaggerating about is they then think, oh, well, if I send emails, I got to send 5 emails a day to all these different products. No, you can email for all of your own products, but there's definitely some space in between here, between an internet marketer and between an author, speaker, coach, where you belong. And, you aren't too good for setting up a website. I mean, I'll just say that. And most people that I know have tried to basically be the CEO, and they just said, "Oh, I want to put in $5,000 a month and just pay this one person to be my traffic person. I want to pay this person to be my product creator, this person to set up my website," and then you end up spending all your time kind of managing these people. And you thought that you could get away with just putting money into it and they manage themselves, but you end up having to look over everyone's shoulder. You're never happy with what comes out. So at the very least, you do need to know how to set up a website, how to add content, maybe even how to set up a payment button, just because there are things that you just need to do to run your business that you'd rather do yourself, that it would be nice if we could find a way to be completely hands-free, but sometimes we have to do the dirty work, and you don't want to be that person who has to go and pay someone $50, $100 just to change a blog post. You need to own your own passwords, to have the keys to the castle at some level, and at some point, can you outsource your graphics, your copywriting, some of your traffic? Well, sure, but you should be able to do at least a little bit on your own. And if time management's a problem, then you just do 4 things every day. Don't have a big long to-do list. Don't have this big fancy system. Just figure out, and even for today, right now today, what are the 4 most important things you need to do to improve your business? And if there are 10, then cross out all but 4 and just do those 4 things today, and that's it. And then tomorrow, or whenever you get back from the holidays or back from the weekend, whenever it is, then do 4 more things to move yourself in that right direction. And once again, for many of you, it's just getting your web page finished. It's getting a payment button online. It's scheduling email broadcasts. It's contacting 10 people a day to get interviews, to get affiliates. But there are 4 things that you need to do right now today to make more money. And the problem is everywhere. Everyone's asking the wrong questions. Everyone's worried about the wrong thing. Like, for example, I just pulled this off some random message board the other day. Someone's asking, well, is it possible to earn a slight income off ClickBank without owning a domain name? So this is the case where it's kind of nothing wrong with asking an innocent newbie question, but this is the wrong question to ask for a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, this person doesn't have a signature. This is a message board that allows signatures, so they need to have some kind of a website. I don't know their name, and they're only worried about a slight income, not even like, why not a normal income? And they're worried, they don't even want to put down a $10 investment to set up a domain name. And the question is why? Why isn't the question, is it possible to earn a slight income off ClickBank? Is it possible to earn an income off ClickBank? And maybe if they've done something already, what it is that they're doing. So first of all, the question's wrong, and if the question itself is wrong, then all the answers are going to be bad too. So someone's worried about, oh, we'll use Blogger, use Tumblr, use YouTube, use all these other free sites. And then someone else says, oh, but you know what? YouTube's out to get you. Sooner or later, YouTube will delete all your videos. So the problem with kind of going out there is that everyone has different opinions, and chances are you're asking the wrong question. So we need to get away from that. We need you to actually build a real website that's your own, because there's kind of this extreme, and the other extreme is I was on a plane a couple years ago, and I read this book by this guy Gary Vaynerchuk called Crush It. I know some people on the call have read it, and it's a pretty good book. But the only problem with this book, although it's really good, is that he keeps mentioning things like, well, put these videos out on YouTube, and then if you're lucky, then you'll get discovered and make $1 billion. And I see people who, especially like WordPress people or bloggers, that's all they want. They want to, once again, play the lottery, and they're putting out a website in the hopes that someone, I guess, discovers them, that they get quote unquote lucky, and that someone comes in and puts down $1 million, and then basically becomes a venture capitalist and lets them hire their friend as the accountant, and now they can rent their own office, and basically they can spend someone else's money and pay themselves a salary just for goofing off making a website without really worrying about that money paying off. And then what do you end up with? Well, you think that that's the end of it, but it's just the beginning. Now you've become once again an employee, right? Because you now have a boss, someone else is paying your bills. So the employee mindset is that, well, I'll run up the clock, I'll look busy, I'll act busy, I'll check my email every 5 minutes because, hey, I'm still making progress. What if that email comes in a minute that's going to change my entire life? There's going to be that $5 product I can buy right now on LinkedIn and about Instagram and Pinterest, and I can use it to get a billion hits, and it'll change my entire life today. But I think we both know the answer, and is that you need to take this seriously, and so many times just shutting out the world is exactly what it is that you need to do, and stop being a victim. Because it's really easy, a really easy way out to think that, well, if my business takes off, if everyone loves my product, if it converts really well, I get a bunch of traffic, a bunch of sales, a bunch of money, a bunch of recurring income, then that's great. And that's just something that's happened to me. Because what if I put out a product and I put everything into it, and I spend so much time on the graphics, so much time on the copy, so much time getting people to see it, and no one wants it? Well, then I really suck, and then why is this happening to me? So stop being a victim. If you're stuck in this pattern, well, then it's not your fault because you don't realize it. But now that you know that it's something you need to break, if you don't break it, well, then now it is your fault. But, if things don't go your way, it just means it's time to try something else. Do you think I thought maybe for about 5 seconds about not being here with you today? Well, of course. I thought, oh, man, my internet's out. And for about 5 seconds, I was like, oh, shoot, right when I needed it, bad timing. And I thought, well, you know what? If I just do everything in my power to get on this call, then I will. And I went out and bought one of these, let me look it up real quick. Whoops. Google Images. It's called like a Verizon Jetpack. I just went in the store and, what is it? I got the crappy one. Well, I guess it's similar, but it looks kind of like this, a little box, plugged it in, get it all connected, and then, boom, back online. So there are little tiny obstacles, but that's all they are, obstacles, roadblocks to get you back to the next step. Okay, so being an employee sucks, because when someone else decides where I have to be, then I don't really get to make all my decisions. Someone else decides when I can go home, what time, when I have to be there, when I can go on vacation, and they pay me because, let's say they pay me $30 an hour. Well, that's because they're making $60 an hour from everything I do for them. But at least I have a steady paycheck, right? But at least I have guaranteed income and job security. But do you really? Well, maybe not. Because how many people do you know, maybe this happened to you, where they kind of scaled back your hours, or at least in my case, they moved me to like a really remote part of the building. And after I quit, I every now and then I run into someone who I knew from that job, like every couple of years, and it was a government job, and they can't really fire people because they have a budget and all this and that. But they'd have like what are called furlough days. They'd have days where people just couldn't even go into work, and then they would use that as an excuse to cut everyone's pay. So it's still out of your hands, and either way, nothing's guaranteed in life. Even if you have a job, it's still not guaranteed, and it might be safe, it might be fine now, but things might change. So why not hope for the best, plan for the worst, and build your own business on the side? And if that overtakes what you're doing, then even better. So I told you I'd tell you about this thing called luck. This guy, Richard Wiseman, everything he does is he's just obsessed with this idea of luck. He's written books on it. He's done all these studies. He does all these experiments, and he talks about story after story about, well, he's looking at, why do some people seem to be really lucky? And so there was this one story about this person who owned a chain of jewelry stores, and Warren Buffett happens to walk into his store. And when Warren Buffett ended up buying him out, and he made billions and billions of dollars, and it all happened just because Warren Buffett happens to walk by. So the question is, well, why is that guy so dang lucky and I'm not? And he's looked into things like gamblers. You know how gamblers are always thinking like, ooh, well, I'm on a hot streak, right? This is the hot slot machine. I'm at the craps table and I'm on a streak right now. And what this guy did was he did the study where he had two groups of people. And he had the people who said that they were lucky, people who said they were unlucky, and then he had them both toss a coin over and over and over, repeatedly, toss a coin, toss a coin, and you would think that the lucky, well, if you were to believe superstition, the lucky people would have the coin, if they wanted it to land on heads, that they would land on heads most of the time and tails some of the time, right? What ended up happening was, well, landed on heads half the time, landed on tails half the time for both groups. No matter how much they thought good thoughts, law of attracted it, any of that stuff, it just didn't work. And I mean, anytime that you look at it, let me bring up my Excel real quick. This is taking a second to load, of course. All right. So have you seen this? This is like an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm just gonna we can do a little thing called a coin toss. I can do a little something like this. I can say I'm going to do a random number between 0 and 1. So we can say, well, this is heads, and we can pretty much flip this coin is what I'm doing here. If it lands on heads, it's a 1. If it lands on tails, it's a 0. We can kind of simulate a coin toss over and over. And so if I was going to say, let me average out this, whatever this coin is that I'm tossing. And I can just say right now that I'm flipping this coin, and it looks like it only lands on heads 25% of the time, right? I flipped this coin 16 times here, and so it must be a bad coin, right? Because it landed on heads only a fourth of the time. But here's what we do, is we flip this coin a couple thousand times, maybe like over 3,000 times, right? And so if we scroll up, we see that flipping the coin, heads, tails, we end up with a coin that's about 48% of the time landing on heads. And then if we were to do this over and over, and if we were to do this, 10,000, 100,000, a million times, then this would get really, really close to 50%. No matter how lucky I was, no matter how times I did it, see 51%, it slowly gets close to 50% no matter who the heck you are. So there's a little bit of a nerd computer programmer stuff for you. So luck doesn't matter. Luck doesn't work. What matters is what you do. And your time is valuable, so instead of being an employer worried about what other people are going to do for you, what are you going to do for yourself? Because your time is valuable. So doesn't it make more sense to get in, do your 4 money-making tasks, and then you're done for the day, get your stuff done for the day, instead of filling out 8 hours? And for me, in order to narrow it down to 4 things, I kind of had to do this thing called selective ignorance, which means that can I get by knowing enough to be dangerous, but I don't need to know every little freaking thing. If I go and change a few settings in WordPress, update a post, change my theme, do I have to know and research every little possible thing that I can do with the latest and greatest version of WordPress? Well, no. If I edit what's called an HTML web page and I know how to change a headline, add a graphic, do I need to know about iframes? Do I need to know about how to add a video or add an audio if I'm not at that point? Well, no. I don't need to know about every single possible kind of website. All I need to do is start making money as soon as possible, revise later, and stop thinking so much about it. Because this is where the inner game kind of plays in again, because so many people, let's say they start right here at on the first of the month, and they say, I want to have a money making website, and it's got to have good graphics, and I've got to edit this and change this, and let me research what merchant account to use. Maybe I'll use PayPal, maybe not. Maybe I'll figure out what price. Let me go and figure all of that out. And they keep adding in all these questions, and they think, well, I've got to get through about 10 questions before I launch my product, and then they're just at the point where they're just looking for more questions, and they're never going to run out of questions. But why not make it a point to do it wrong the first time and just get something out there, and you say, I don't know what to price it at, I'll price it at just some random number. I don't know what to name this product, I'll name it whatever makes sense now, and then I will go back and readjust later, because if I put it out right now and I only make a couple of sales right now, that's better than waiting and guaranteeing 0 sales. But once again, there's such a mindset shift here, is that it's really easy to not put out a product. It's really easy to set up a website and not promote it, because if you make 0 sales from a site that's not done, then it's not your fault. Then it's not making sales for a reason that I can control. And at some point, we have to take the training wheels off and just go for it, because nothing's perfect, and you do have to pick your battles and move on. So if on one day PayPal is down, or ClickBank is down, or your website is down, or the graphic doesn't look quite right, well then is that something that you can change, or isn't it? And if it is, then change as much as you can and move on. And if not, then find a way to get over it, because that's all there is to do, is to get out of your own way. And you have the same tools available to you as everyone else on the internet with a website. So, there's nothing else left to do but put it out there and get it done. It sounds like such a dang cliche, but then why do so many people not do it? Why do so many people fail to put out a website, or do the right things to it, or if it's not selling, fix it, or if people aren't seeing it, get people to see it? I think it's because they're that frog again. Remember how early we said there's the frog in the pot of water. If you drop them into a boiling water, then they'll jump out. But if you're just barely uncomfortable, if being in your day job just sucks just a little bit, if you're making just under the amount of money you want, well then, why even go for it? Why not just sit in the pot of water, the heat turns up, and then now it's too late. Now I've waited too long, and now, I should have made that website years ago. I should have finished that report years ago, because you're headed slowly in the wrong direction. But in order to change directions, luck doesn't exist, right? You can flip a coin as many times as you want. It doesn't matter if you're flipping a coin and you're Mother Teresa, or you're flipping a coin and you're Adolf Hitler. It's still going to be on heads as many times as it is tails. So luck has been disproven, and then the coincidences only happen because you forget the non-coincidences. So here's the perfect example: is have you ever been thinking about like an old friend or a family member, and then boom, suddenly the phone rings and it's them, and you're like, whoa, I must be psychic, I must be a god or something, because I just thought of my friend Diane, and then the phone rang and it was Diane on the phone. How'd that happen? Well, what happens is you forgot all the times that weren't important. So here's what I mean. It means that, let's say that on Monday I'm thinking like, oh, what happened with my friend Ernest? Well, I don't know, I'll just go off to do other things. You forget. And if you don't believe me, then what were you doing on the 7th day of last month at 11:23 a.m. exactly? And what exactly were you thinking about? And even what did you have for lunch that day? You probably don't know. Why? Because it wasn't important, because your brain had to make room for other stuff. So on Monday I think about that and forget. Tuesday I think about that and forget. Wednesday I think about that and forget. Thursday I think about that and forget. And then maybe on Friday I think about him again, and the phone rings, and I think my brain plays tricks on me that this was the only time I thought about my friend Ernest, and suddenly the phone rang. What a coincidence. And it's just your brain playing tricks on you, but that's the way it works. And the good news is that you can play tricks back. And that means that if I put out my latest product on WordPress or about setting up a website and it doesn't sell that well, and then I go in and I fix it, well then guess what I've done? Every time I put out a product, I make money. Cool. Now I had to kind of make a few adjustments along the way, but that is the connection, the cause and effect, the relationship that I choose to make in my brain. If I make the connection that every time I put out a blog post, put out an article, people see it, people love it. Not 100% of people love it, but I enjoy doing it. Now I'm going to keep looking for that enjoyment. I'm going to keep making content, keep making products. Okay? So that's what I think about coincidences. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. You can't rely on anyone else to swoop in and improve your current situation. All you can do is set up your own business, your own product. Now maybe you've heard about most of the stuff, maybe you have holes in it, maybe you know every possible thing there is to set up a website, but there's still holes in your knowledge, or there's still things that you can go back and do better. Need a niche? So I mentioned a bunch of niches already, like real estate, self-help, WordPress. If you can narrow it down even further to real estate flipping, real estate foreclosure, renting a home, all that kind of cool stuff, even better, because that way you have less competition. You need to have a domain, a .com name, so that you rank in the search engines and so that what you're selling makes sense. So Lance and I have a course called Webinar Crusher. And what's that about? It's about webinars. So that way it's clear about what it is. We have a course called Membership Cube. What's that about? Membership sites. So when you search for membership something, when I tell you the course is Membership Cube, you already have an idea that it's about membership sites. But it's not enough to have a website. It's not enough to have a site that says, hey, membership sites are cool, the end, right? You need to give people something to do. And the best thing to give someone who's brand new to you is a way to get on your newsletter. Give them a free gift. That way you can start the relationship, start talking to them. Because, I mean, when Lance and I first started charging higher prices, we started charging in the hundreds and thousands of dollars, people weren't ready to buy right away. If you land on a page and there's a page for $500, $1,000, you might not be ready to buy just yet. You need me to buy you dinner first, so to speak. So we need to keep in touch, and then we send these emails over time, giving people more reasons to go back and look at that web page, more reasons to buy, all that good stuff. And in the meantime, we might have some blog posts to further explain why membership sites are so important, why you need to have a membership site with us, this and that component of membership sites, handle objections, figure out the reasons people don't buy, and handle that in free blog content, and all that good stuff. And once people are ready to buy, then we have what's called a sales letter. We have a big long web page, not always that long, but a web page where there's nothing else to do but scroll down and buy, right? There's not a bunch of tabs, a bunch of navigation. There's just the information you need right here, a direct response letter, a long piece of paper that has all the details. But we know that people get distracted. Why? Because I know that I personally get distracted if there are things to click on. If I go to Facebook, I'm like, well, what's Lance doing? What's Judy doing? What's Kathleen doing? What's John doing? And I click on every single possible thing. But if I know that I need to get to this web page, and I know that if I really want to go down and buy, well then that's all there should be on this web page, is just a web page where someone can do nothing else but buy. And then when someone does buy, we have something to send them to, a download page, a membership site, all that good stuff. So I keep saying the phrase all the good stuff too many times, but that's okay, because we're not going to be perfect here. I'm just going to show you how to make money online with a BAM. Not being perfect, not being careful, just going in there and going, bam, we're going to make money. The reason why we said BAM is because these are the letters, the acronym for what I'm going to show you today right here. So the first letter of BAM, the B, are the basics. What do you need to make money online? Well, first is a niche. What do you do? What value do you provide? What system, not tips, not advice, not stories, what step-by-step system can you teach me that's worth at least $100, that's just a little different, just a little bit more special or smaller scale or faster than everyone else, not hard to do, to be just a little different than everyone else. Then come up with a .com name where someone can type it in and end up on your site. Membershipcube.com. There we go. It's a site on a product on membership sites. You type it in, you're at that web page. So you have an idea, a niche, a domain name, and then a website where when I type in your web address, is something there? Can a web page load? So most of you are at this point, so that's really good, where I can find you on the internet, and hopefully you have maybe the beginnings of a brand, or I just know that when I go to your site that there's something to buy, there's something that will solve my problem. Okay, so that's the B in BAM. We said BAM first. There's the basics. Now the second part we're going to talk about is authority. So it's one thing to have one web page on the internet. But if, for example, if you search Robert Plank, just to be a little selfish here, even in quotes to make it just, mostly me, 104,000 results, you end up finding my blog, my Twitter, there's some videos, there's my Facebook, there's different posts, LinkedIn, different products, different articles. So when someone searches your name, they should find all kinds of results about you in the niche that you are in. So when someone searches me, you get all kinds of, tools, pop-ups, things about copywriting, about WordPress, about websites. So that's what we call authority. And this is a lot easier, a lot faster than, say, writing a bunch of books, because books take a long time. You have to edit them. Books are fine. They just take a while. So how about let's just keep it simple and have a newsletter. So if I say, how can I join your newsletter? Well, if someone asked me that, I'd say, well, you go to robertplank.com, end up on my blog. There's a newsletter right there on the sidebar once you get there. Once that loads, there's a newsletter. I thought it was right here. I'll have to check on that. Probably further down. But we have a newsletter right there on robertplank.com. So how can I join your newsletter? And once I do join your newsletter, do you send me things? And not just anything, but updates, notifications, news, advice, questions, offers, just this and that to keep the relationship alive, to all help me with my problem. So really important is that I help people here and there about setting up their website, about membership sites in those emails. So now it's not an annoyance. Now I'm not worried about, am I sending too often? Is once a day too much? Is once a week too much? It doesn't matter how often, because I'm helping people with their problem. So we had the basics, right? We had the authority, and now the M in BAM and BAM is the money. It's enough to get started and have a website set up. But now, don't you kind of want money? Don't you want to be able to get that investment back on the web hosting, on the domain name, on the advertising? Well, of course. So my question to you is, can I buy something from you? Is there a web page where I can go and pay you money and get something back, hopefully a report or a video, just so that you don't have to do any work for that money, or the work has already been done, we should say. So can I buy something from you? And on the web page, do you explain what it is, why I should care, what's in it, how much is it, and after I pay you, is there a place to download my product, and where do I log in later to access my download, get updates, get bonuses, get that membership site set up? So I know what happens at this point. I know people say, oh, I gotta have all this stuff, right? I've gotta have a niche, I've gotta have an output page, I've gotta have an email sequence. Oh, I've gotta write a bunch of short sentences. That sucks. Oh, I've gotta be a salesperson. Why do I gotta do all that? Well, because this is the way to make money. This is the way everyone on the internet makes money. So do you want to make money, or do you want to be that frog who's just kind of cruising along, not realizing that things are about to get very, very bad? Okay, so do you want to be a frog boiled in a pot of water? Well, of course not, right? Because if you drop that frog in the boiling pot of water, he'll jump out. But then if you slowly bring up the heat, he won't even realize what's happening to him. He's just slowly more and more uncomfortable until it's too late. So you're headed in the wrong direction, but you can't rely on luck. Can't rely on coincidence. You have to make your own luck, so to speak. Plan for the worst, hope for the best, and do it yourself. Set up your own website because you're not going to be able to rely on anyone else to fix things for you. They're too busy fixing things for themselves, right? So we talked about mindset, have that right attitude, get your website set up, and then that way we can get to the fun part like traffic. So here's a thought. What if you had 100 articles? You had 100 posts on your blog, you had 100 posts on other people's blogs, 100 posts on article sites. That might seem like a big number, and it might take you a few months to get to that point, and you might just start off with 5 or 10, but how cool would that be if you had those 100 articles, use them in 10 different places? Now there are 1,000 different ways that people can find their way back to your website. What if you're running paid ads? I was showing someone, I think she's on this call, the other day, is someone who's on this call wanted to run a health site, like a site about how to eat right and things like that. And I said, what you can do is if you search in Facebook for the term Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers, that's some like diet plan. They have 1 million people who've gone out of their way to find this thing called Weight Watchers and click the like button, and everyone on their profile sees that they're dieting, and so they're risking getting made fun of or ridiculed, or what happens if they stay fat or they get fat again. So 1 million people are I guess in a way proud that they're on this diet program, and this is just one of several. So what if you ran an ad advertising and talking to these 1 million people about your health or your exercise or your weight loss product? So pretty cool. So I mean, just things like that. Traffic from Facebook. There are all kinds of super targeted people where you can run an ad and easily get your 1,000 clicks to see how well your product's converting, and they're just from there. And then once your product converts, once you have a handful of sales, now here's where it gets really cool, and you can go out and contact people, get joint venture partners, get affiliates. And now you're not that guy we mentioned before where he won the lottery on the internet. He had that one friend who mailed for him one time, made a few $1,000s, and then what? Or maybe even he knew what to do again, but he wasn't prepared for the money. But now you did everything in the right sequence, and now it's easy to repeat again and again. Because what if you put out traffic and you set up a website and you accidentally targeted the wrong people? What if for some reason, Weight Watchers wasn't a good match? Maybe Jenny Craig was a better match for the product you have out there. Well, then what do? Well, you just find a better source of traffic. You don't become a victim. You don't feel sorry for yourself. You don't get angry. You just do something better until it works, and then repeat that. If you set up a website and no one visits, what do? Well, then you figure out, well, now I need some traffic. Where's my traffic coming from already? Where are my competitors getting traffic? What kind of free traffic am I getting? And where can I pay for traffic? Do I need to set up some pay-per-click ads? Do I need to, buy some link ads, some banner ads, some blog ads? So if you set up a website and no one's there, the problem isn't you. The problem is traffic. The problem is you just need to get people to come to your site, but you need to have a site set up, and you need to have a site where someone can buy from you, where someone can get on your list, where you send them emails before you even send traffic that way. And let's say things were really bad. You set up a website, you got traffic, and people visited, but they still aren't buying, you're not making money. Then what do? Well, then you figure, well, maybe I'm not getting enough traffic. Maybe I need to change the offer, change the headline. I need to just figure out why they're not buying. And now it's not on you. Now it's not just guessing. Now it's not luck. It's not coincidence. You're not a victim. It's just, I thought it was this huge problem, but now that I've narrowed it down, now that I've asked the right question, and I've just made it into this really tiny roadblock, now I can just move over to whatever the next step is in that case, because I know that for me, I would just make these tiny changes and make a lot more money. Started off freelancing, made us some money. Then I made products demonstrating my system. Then I added this thing called an affiliate program, made a little bit more money. Then I said, well, I made some products, let me just make some more money. Then I was building a list of buyers. Then I emailed my list consistently. Then I started making video products, and I started increasing my prices now that I could use the video to justify a higher price. Then I created free landing pages. Then I added upsells. I did all these things that took me years to figure out because no one told me, because I had to do trial and error, but just these little things increased my income. And the only delay on this is just I didn't know that these things existed. I didn't know how to do them. I didn't know that I should have done one thing before doing the other thing. Okay, so, but now that I've kind of gone through all this trial and error, it took me years and years to figure out, well, now it builds on its own every day because I want to make more money. If you want to make more money, then you just launch another product, send another email, get a new affiliate, new joint venture partner, find a new source of traffic, build a bigger list. But you can't do any of this fun stuff until you have your websites set up. And I want to show you how to do this because chances are that you have a website, you have some traffic, you maybe even made some sales, but you only have a piece or there's holes in your plan. You only have some of it set up, or even worse, it's half set up. And I mean, if you have half a sales letter online, if there's a web page and you have a logo that you paid $1,000 for, and a little bit of copy, and a video that you paid $2,000 for, and then it stops, and you forgot to put in the payment button, well then how much money is that going to make you? $0. Or if you have a membership site that you have a WordPress set up and a theme, but nothing in it, then it's still not set up. So I'd rather have something that's not the best, but at least it's completely set up and you can start making money from that. But so do you really have all the pieces filled in? If I'm on your list, do I get an email every day, every week from you? If I go to your blog, has it been updated recently? Does it have traffic? Does it have comments? Does it have a link to your newsletter? And if not, then there are holes in your plan. And then you hear, okay, well, I need to have this website set up, and then someone might tell you to hire someone else to do it. And then what happens is, first you have to find the right person, pay them a bunch of money, wait to hear back from them. You say, I want this, they come back with that. You say, I want to fix this, they come back with something else. There's so much back and forth. You're just managing someone else, and you probably could have done it better and faster if you had just done it yourself and just kind of made it good enough. Or you hear someone say, you know what, this WordPress theme that just came out, it's going to solve everything. It'll host your membership site, your opt-in page, your sales letter. It'll get traffic for you. It'll cook toast for you. It'll tuck you in at night. And then they say that this one WordPress theme will do every possible thing. And you end up with a sales letter that kind of just looks a little bit homemade and awkward. And I'll give you an example. I regret putting this sales letter on WordPress. I'll just tell you that right now. And the reason is, I mean, it's an okay looking site, but when I actually want to do things, I mean, I have to put in so much effort to make this box line up or to make these things 2 columns. I could have just, opened up Dreamweaver or opened up even my cPanel's HTML editor and just kind of like did a point and click. But instead I have to try to make WordPress do this and get this plugin and make this CSS hack just to make it look right when I should have just set up a simple web page and then used WordPress for my blog, for my membership site, and just used a simple raw HTML page for this sales letter, if you know what that is. So someone who says, well, this one WordPress plugin will do it all, well, then it does it until you get to that point where you've now painted yourself into a corner. Or someone says, well, you know what, get this, use this tool over here, use this tool over there, use Tumblr, use Blogger, use YouTube. They say piece it all together. And then what happens is you end up where we were back, like on that, where is it? On that forum where this person has advice, this person has advice, this conflicts, that conflicts, the person conflicts with themselves sometimes. It never works to piece everything together using free tools. So those are all the things that don't work, but what if you just, instead of trying to make the problem bigger than it is, you just set up one piece of the puzzle, right? I'm just going to set up my opt-in page and not even have a pretty one, not even worry about how it connects to my other site, just set up an opt-in page where someone can go. And then you were done. Okay, or you said, okay, now the next step is to now build my email sequence that sends people to my blog posts, to my sales letters. Now that's done. Now I'm setting up my blog. I'm putting up a couple of blog posts. I'm not worrying about how pretty it is because funny how it is that the defaults, where is it? If you're like the WordPress 2011 theme, like all the WordPress themes that come by default, they look pretty normal, right? They look like they're just a plain black and white kind of thing. If you open up sites like eBay, Craigslist, Amazon, there's not really anything to these sites. They're pretty much just a bunch of white. They worry about the text, and they're more concerned about the text that's on the web page instead of how pretty it is. They're more about function over form, not form over function. Okay, so what if you did this and you can stop anytime you wanted to, and you made money every step of the way? Set up a sales letter, there's something for sale, cool, and make money. Set up a blog, have some posts on there, get some extra traffic to the sales letter, cool, and make money. Have my email list, send some emails, make a little bit more money every step of the way, and now it's set up properly and you have full control. You're not stuck with that one WordPress plugin, that one WordPress theme. You can move things around as much as you want. So what you need are those pieces: niche and domain, website and web host, opt-in page, autoresponder emails, authority blog, sales letter, membership site, traffic, all that good stuff. You need to have an opt-in page where someone can find you and get something for free, and now you have permission to talk to them. You need a sales letter where someone can come to your web page, and if they want it right now, they can buy it even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You need an authority blog where someone can find out what you're all about, solve their objections, and maybe they even get on your list and buy from you right off the bat as well. You need traffic, so when someone types in something in the Google, you end up ranked highly. When someone buys from you, they end up inside a membership site where they can go back and get their download every single day. Traffic where someone can see articles you've written all around the internet, and you can do even goofy stuff. This is from a few hours ago where we've been trying some new traffic technique called a promoted post on Facebook, and just by clicking a button, putting in $7, 10.6 times as many people see my links come to my website. Awesome stuff. And this is all in a system where you set up your sales letter, opt-in page, blog, membership site, and it's done in 48 hours, and it's called Newbie Crusher. Inside Newbie Crusher, we have your internet business set up in 48 hours in 10 easy sessions. But, like I said, you make money every step of the way. You can stop at any point. There's a video, a challenge, there are tools, a checklist for every step of the way, and it's one of those things where you know what you need to know, and it's all covered in there, but we don't go too much into detail, right? You just watch over our shoulder as we set up a brand new internet business from scratch. You hear our voices, you hear our screens, you ask questions if you need to, there's a whole community in there, and you finish with your complete business in a box, just like David Birch did, just like Audrey Hill did, in these 10 how-to video modules for niche, your presence, lead capture, sales funnel, blog, sales letter, membership site traffic, how to make video product webinars. And so as you go along, as you enjoy setting up each piece of the puzzle, then it just gets more and more into it. So Carl Dickens says that it moved him forward months. Sylvia Rivera says that it covers everything, and she's running all the challenges and all that cool stuff. So you have instant access to all 10 how-to video modules. Here's everything right here for a total value so far of $2,880 and 0 cents. So there are these 10 modules in here. We give you a video showing all the software we use, the web page templates we use, the email autoresponders we use. We have a bonus session on video and time management, on even how to run webinars. If you get to that point, we give you a month free trial of our double agent marketing membership site. You see recordings of other people we've helped just like you along the way, and there's a private Facebook group called 4 Daily Tasks. If we go over here, we close the Weight Watchers. There's a group that you don't have access to. And then I have to manually approve you, but and we have a link in the membership site, but there's a site here where people post their tasks, their 4-day tasks, and every single day they get progress made, and everyone else sees their progress as well. So for all that, for instant digital access and not DVDs. Let me cross that part out. But instant digital access all for $35-$65. Okay, everything in there, those 4 modules, the tools, the templates, the training, the motivation, all for $35-$65. And what if right now today, all that, including the Facebook group, was just $197 for the Newbie Crusher 10-part training series? It's 10 courses in one. Your blog, your traffic, your sales letter, your opt-in page, your autoresponder sequence, all that, just $97. JP Brazier in there says link please, so I'm going to type it in the chat box right now. That's at newbiecrusher.com, newbiecrusher.com. It's 100% risk-free. There are 16 hours of core training. Don't be scared by that though, because that's just the total. That's once you get to the ends, but you watch an hour or two, get your niche set up and your domain and your website, watch an hour, get your opt-in page set up, watch an hour, get your email sequence set up. Now, why does it take a whole hour? Because we explain what we're going to do, and then we actually set it up right in front of you, so it's impossible to mess up. Get the coaching call recordings, resources, tools. We have transcripts now with screenshots, so every module, every part of this is explained with screenshots. Your complete system is online in 48 hours, and there's a 30-day 100% priority guarantee. Okay, so the website to go right now to is newbiecrusher.com. That's newbiecrusher.com. And I typed it in the chat box. I'm gonna type it in the question box as well. But it's at newbiecrusher.com. And I want you to go ahead and do it right now, because are you really going to let today, this week, this month, this year pass by and experience the same frustrations you always have until it's too late? Hopefully you're not that frog when now boiled alive. Are you going to let yourself hold you back, or are you going to get a lot done right away? Get rid of the excuses, get rid of the I'll do it later, get rid of the it's not my fault or I'm a victim, or just do it. Just get something online, because you can always improve it, adjust it later. Are you going to look back and be glad that you took the first step? Because even if you already have some of these parts set up, even if you already have web pages set up, I'll show you the right way to do it. So in newbiecrusher.com, without us, there's no clear plan. Without us, there's no templates. Without us, there's no complete system. Without us, your stuff is not online. Without us, you are not making money. But with us, you have your opt-in sequence. You have your sales letter. We show you video training. We have community support. It's all set up in 48 hours for you to make your first sale, make your next sale, double your sales, get to whatever level of income you want to do. So what to do right now is go to www.newbiecrusher.com to secure your spot right now. Click the pay button and send $97, and then get redirected to log into the site in the next few minutes at newbiecrusher.com, or be the frog in the pot, or just join newbiecrusher.com, your choice. So hurry up, go ahead, do it right now. I'm going to put it in the chat box, or the question box, I think, one more time. That's newbiecrusher.com. Let's go right there together, www.newbiecrusher.com, newbiecrusher.com. You go right there. Here's the web page. It explains what's in each module. And special surprise for everyone on this call today, we're about to remove this, I think. I have to check with Lance. But it's $97, or you can start on the trial. You can put down just 99 cents today for 48 hours, and then another payment of $49.95, and then $49.95, and then you're done. So let me say that again, because I kind of messed it up. You can pay the full $97 right now, or get in for just $1, and then it's 2 payments of $50. So pretty simple right there. You can get all those 10 modules, the Facebook group, the video training, the challenges, the transcripts, the community, right now today. Go ahead, do it right now. newbiecrusher.com, newbiecrusher.com, and I look forward to seeing you in the membership site. I look forward to seeing what you set up, and I look forward to seeing you inside of our very special Facebook group for Newbie Crusher students only, and seeing what you end up getting set up. And if you already have something set up, what you end up filling in. Get your email sequence figured out, get your sales letter figured out, get your traffic figured out, whatever it is. I look forward to seeing you inside of newbiecrusher.com, newbiecrusher.com, newbiecrusher.com. My name is Robert Plank, and thank you.